As you know, my name is Shauna. I am here today to tell you my personal testimony of chronic illness and the benefits that I found for both Reiki and Qigong practice. But first, let me tell you a little background. At the age of 9, I was diagnosed with this neurological pain condition known as reflex sympathetic dystrophy, or more formally and recently known as chronic regional pain syndrome. This condition affects the sympathetic nervous system of the body, and in my case affects much throughout my whole body, from my head to my toes, even my internal organs. I experienced severe burning, pain, swelling, temperature and color changes of the limbs, muscle spasm, digestive issues, memory loss, pain in my bone and my veins, muscle deterioration, dystonia, insomnia, depression, anxiety, stiffness, and a multitude of other symptoms. This condition left me with the inability to walk for 7 years. 6.5 of those years I was on crutches, and for 6 months I was actually in a wheelchair when it had spread to the other side of my body. Look at me now, I'm actually wearing heels, you guys. There was a point in time where I couldn't wear a shoe and sock, and that was embarrassing going to school like that. People were like, did you forget something? No, it hurts, I can't do it. Numerous doctors and hospitals told me not only is the condition not curable, but it is progressive and it will get worse with time and age. At age 13, after numerous failed treatments, abuse and malpractice from and in the medical field, I met a world-renowned RSD specialist named Dr. Philip Getzen, and this was in New Jersey at an RSD conference. Intrigued by my case, he offered to treat me pro bono, which was like huge because like my mom was a single mother. We had very little money, and medical bills were already like woo. The catch was I had to travel all the way to New Jersey to see him, but that was worth it. And luckily, I had a great support group, and we figured it out and got me there. After a series of nerve combination blocks and gentle warm pool therapy, because cold, I can't even swim in a cold pool today, I had enough relief to begin walking once more. I was 16 when I began walking again. And I remember that day specifically because we were in the hospital after the treatment. I took my first step and my mom was like, "My daughter's walking!" And everybody thought she was crazy. Because they were like, "Why is this lady yelling?" And I did get to go to my prom, and I walked at my graduation. 2 things that I had doctors tell me I would never do. This was huge progress, but I still had a long, grueling road ahead in order to rebuild muscle and to relearn how to walk, as well as continuing treatment to keep the pain under enough control so not to regress. It was also around this time I was introduced to Reiki. For the first time, as Dr. Getzen's wife, actually happened to be a Reiki master and holistic integrative medicine doctor. Dr. Getzen believed in combining both Western medicine and integrative medicine, and he encouraged me to learn more about natural healing modalities. It was also during this time a friend had introduced me to a Qigong and energy healer named Dr. Civic, who agreed to work with me over a weekend period of time. He showed me and a few other patients he was working with at the time Qigong pool exercises, and he did some energy work as well. I knew these modalities held value, and I did experience actually some relief from it, but I was 13, and at the young age I couldn't fully understand and integrate the mechanics of the modality, so it kind of just like went in, and I was so stuck in the medical field already that I had this belief, this strong belief that getting better was out of my reach, and I wasn't completely open-minded enough to embody these powerful modalities. Because of this, I spent the following years on heavy-duty pain medications. had nerve block treatments every 3 months, and suffered severe depression. I continued to walk, but the pain was getting worse, spreading, and eventually the treatment stopped providing significant relief, as well as I had like numerous epidurals. I had so much scar tissue on my back. They moved my rib cage doing these surgeries and experimental treatments. So I was kind of running out of options. I remember at the age of 25, I hit my lowest point after trying another failed experimental treatment, which was a 10-day outpatient ketamine infusion. I don't know if you are familiar with that. By this time, I was exhausted of needles, surgeries, and drugs. I was just done. I was living from a victim mindset. I was in a really dark place, and I created a very unhealthy lifestyle to cope. After what I refer to as an epiphany for change, I began to reach out more to Dr. Gess's wife, speaking about Reiki and holistic and integrative medicine. And I expressed my despair and exhaustion with the Western medical practices. Because I lived too far to begin visiting her daily for Reiki, she urged me to find a practitioner that was in my area to receive treatments, and she ideally wanted me to learn Reiki so I could work on myself. I conducted a Google search with not much hope. And because I had never heard of any like practicing Reiki masters in or around my area, I was surprised when an article on Reiki integrated with occupational therapy came up on my computer, which was written by Kiki Peppard. I read the article and was super intrigued, so I researched Kiki, and I actually found out she lived in Eastern Pennsylvania. I was like, okay. I don't believe in coincidences. On a whim, I decided to write to her in hopes that she could point me in the right direction for treatment and possibly direct me to where I could get certified. A day or so after, I received a reply email, and my heart literally jumped as I read that not only did she practice Reiki, she taught Reiki, and she actually lived a few blocks away from me. Synchronicity? I think so. A month later, I was scheduled to take my Reiki level 1 class with her. My life was about to change. I came to her class on a day where we got hit with a huge blizzard, and it was like almost like everything was trying to, obstacles. But I came to her class, and like I said, at this point in my life, I was a complete mess, physically and emotionally. I was severely depressed, and I was living a self-destructive lifestyle for sure. I was terrified and doubtful as I showed up to her door. To my surprise, she embraced me with open arms, and she just gave me this biggest hug, like she knew me my whole life, and I instantly felt a connection. Upon entering her home, I felt as if I stepped into a little piece of heaven. That's the only way I can think of to describe the atmosphere. She sat me and the other student down on a comfortable couch with these cute little pillows and these beautiful, fluffy, comfortable blankets, and I was like, wow, this is a different kind of class. And she urged us to cuddle with these blankets if we wished. My healing journey began that day. At first it was bittersweet, as through the practice of Reiki, healing my old habits, excuses, and victim beliefs began, At first it was bittersweet as through the practice of Reiki healing, my old habits, excuses, and victim beliefs began to be stripped away. I began looking deep within and outside of myself, honestly assessing the life I was living. Reiki was showing me how to take control and responsibility for the condition of my existence. I found out that my attitude and lifestyle were actually making my condition worse. Determined, I studied hard and began practicing Reiki on myself and everything around me every day, never skipping a beat. I was Reikiing my walls, I was Reikiing my cat, I was Reikiing my food. I immersed myself in learning and practicing all that I could. In addition to self-Reiki, I would even come to see Kiki for Reiki treatments that helped propel me along my healing journey and into some intense healing responses. I was finally confronting the root of all my suffering. With study and lots of practice, I worked my way through level 2 and my master's level of Reiki over a three-year period. Through my Reiki journey, I found hope, faith, and confidence I never knew I had. I even quit smoking cigarettes, yuck, after 7 years of the bad habit, and even found my way off of all major pain medications that I've been on since the age of 9. Reiki changed my whole life perspective. I noticed physical and emotional healing begin taking place. Even though I still felt and I still feel pain, for the first time I actually wanted to live this life. And I wanted to experience it to the fullest. I was no longer isolating. I was actually going out and accomplishing my goals and following dreams that I gave up on. I continued my holistic and integrative studies, referring to myself as a forever student. I even interned under Kiki. I still intern under Kiki. I'm following her around, sitting in and assisting in her classes and attending her lectures. She has become one of my best friends and mentors, and to this day, I just keep learning more and more from her. Bringing me to my reintroduction to Qigong, Kiki invited me to a Qigong class that she attended weekly. Intrigued because I had already been introduced to the practice years and years before, I decided to attend with her, which was hard because I was a homebody. You know, I was isolated from being in pain, and I feel like with chronic illness, it's easy to go into your shell and just like shut out the world. But I attended with her, and I only went a couple times, but I loved it. A few years later, Kiki became a Qigong instructor herself and began to teach her own Qigong class at the 7th Moon Wellness Spa in Lehighton, which is actually close to where I live. One day she invited me, and now I cannot imagine my life, not one day without my Qigong practice. Reiki was a game changer in itself, but over time, the pain condition began to present new obstacles for me. Qigong became a new productive coping mechanism, and the benefits have been priceless. It provided me a broad range of physical and emotional therapy. It has improved my mobility, body stiffness, depression, anxiety, my memory, balance, digestion, sleep, my immune system, and even helped with pain reduction. As one example of the power of Qigong that particularly sticks out, I recall becoming sick with bronchitis, and I believe this was last year. Normally my recovery time, because I have a jeopardized immune system due to the RSD, is super long, and it's not possible without antibiotics and steroids. But after a few days of bed rest, I got up the following Monday and I went to Qigong. After class, I went home feeling 90% better, and even had strength and energy to clean and rearrange my whole apartment. I was blown away. Qigong has proven to be the real deal with consistent practice and integration. In conclusion to this testimony, I just want to say, just when I thought my life would end in tragedy and there was no hope for a better existence, I met Kiki. She showed me and taught me these modalities, giving me a different way to approach and manage chronic pain. I now practice other natural remedies, some that Kiki have covered, but Reiki and QiGong alone have saved my life and continue to open doorways and opportunities for me. I truly believe and feel with consistent application, these modalities can and will do the same for others suffering with any chronic illness. Although I still have so much to learn and so much healing left to do, I now have hope and faith that I once never thought could be possible. Our minds and bodies with application have amazing capability to heal themselves. Medical science, although necessary at times, I feel have stunted our natural healing abilities. However, I feel by integrating modalities such as Reiki and Qigong and all the other great modalities that Kiki has covered, with any necessary medical treatment, because sometimes that is necessary, it is not only possible to manage but heal ourselves on a deeper level. I would not be where I am today without Reiki or Qigong. They have saved my life, and I can truly say that. I would not be standing here today. And I would recommend them to everyone to help reach optimal health and healing. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me share. And if you're interested in connecting with me at all, I do have some business cards. If you have any questions or are just interested in Reiki in general, I do practice. So I love to share it and I love to talk about it. So please don't hesitate to approach me, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.